Okay, today, let me see if we can back up a little bit and let me give you a view of what I'm thinking right now and what I'm what my mindset is. And the same probably applies to you. Okay, so let's see if we can do this very, very quickly. I am, and you are, and we are, and I'm seeing it right now, overwhelmed by information overload. Information overload. It's almost like we're running out of memory, we're running out of operation systems, we're running out of RAM, we're running out of memory, we're running out of hard drive, we're running out of space, there's too much information, too much, but it's not being sorted, it's not being compartmentalized, it's not being dealt with rationally. I was listening this morning, earlier, I'm not going to mention, to a show that was dealing with, I love this, by the way, from my keyboard, little crumbs and schmutzes, and in any event, I was listening to this incredible, this supposed genius about numbers, how Trump is doing in North Carolina versus Georgia, and the early polls, and whether Nate Silver and this and the Real Clear Politics and the running polls and the running polls and this and that, but California this, Steve Garvey did this and then Adam Schiff's over here. But then again, the problem with this is because my flip read, and I'm thinking you're missing the entire beauty of the election by turning over shows and focuses to people who have created this wonkish world of metrics, and you're missing the beauty of what's happening. You're missing the beauty of the election. You're missing the reality of it. You're feeling like, well, I've got to do this. I've got to talk about the numbers because I want to be a legitimate news show. I want to be a legitimate program. I want to be taken seriously, and I want to be wonkish and kind of a number file, and I want to go into the metrics and this, and they kind of want to compare this to 2016 and Hillary visits up by 10, and you're missing the point. You're missing almost the beauty of it. And I'm thinking, are you watching the numbers because you like the results or you like the numbers? And that's a very interesting point. Some people are finding themselves, I love these numbers because, well, you like the results. You don't like the numbers. You like the idea that Trump is going to win Philadelphia or win Pennsylvania or win Michigan or whatever. Then you like the numbers. If he wasn't doing well, you don't like the numbers. And they're missing this point. It's even more beautiful. You have to step back. You're going to miss this. In 20 days, it's over, theoretically, even though there's going to be people obviously continuing with the entire path of such. So, stand by for 1 second. I want to remind you of a couple of things, my friends, and I have been receiving more mails from people thanking me for turning them on to your connection to reality, preparewithlionel.com. Bug out bags, torches, matches, water, gravity. The world of survival is unbelievable. Go to preparewithlionel.com. Look at just spend some time looking at all of the genius involved in every aspect, permutation, subdivision, compartmentalized portion of survival, living, calories, storage, water, first responder discounts. What happens if something happens to your storage? What happens if is there time to pay? Can I start building up? Where do I start? What do I do? Do I need this? What do I really need? What should I have? Generators. What good is a generator? I mean, is there a solar power generator? Yes. Immerse yourself into the world of emergency and survival food and equipment. Go to preparewithlionel.com. This is not a luxury. This is not something that, only the tinfoil folks. By the way, it's aluminum foil. We haven't had tin in years. In any event, and I know, we've said this a million times, my friend. It's going to be gargantuan. Stripped shelves. I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be weather, nuclear fallout. Who knows? Who knows? Preparewithlionel.com. Go right now. Trust me. Trust me. Whatever you do, start today. Start to build your fortress against this. And also, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Our friends are still there. The great, the beauteous, the incredible Mike Lindell has been with us since the beginning. Don't forget about Mike. Right now, there are sales like you cannot believe. They have been calling for this man's demise since day one, and he is still there with the greatest slippers and toppers and bed sheets and pillows, socks, coffee, mattresses, blankets, dish towels, you name it. mypillow.com, promo code Line. All right, dear friends, let's begin. First and foremost, I want you, all of you wonderful people, to do yourself a favor. And I want you to calm down. Try it with me. Take it from me. Calm down. Do everything in your power to calm down. Now, there is so much to go through and so much to read. Let's go through a few things. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, there is a rumor, there is a thought, there is a discussion that Kamala is fishing for or talking about, or maybe it's being floated just for publicity, about Kamala going on Joe Rogan. Do you think that is going to be, that it's possible? And assuming it were possible, what would you advise her to do if you represented her? What would you do? Would you tell her the idea of what would be best for her, to go on Joe Rogan or to look the other way? What would you do? What would you do? What do you want? What do you think? Look at this. I love this. I purchased his sheets hoping the bride would like them. Woo, she did. So I bought several more, just walking the walk. Thank you, Ricardo. Unsolicited. What do you think? Now answer the question. What do you think? And be specific. If you're going to write something, put a little bit more. Give us an idea. I'm having so much time sometimes responding to a lot of what you're saying because I don't know. Ha ha, LOL. But I don't know what that means. Which LOL? Which ha ha? Who? Me? Them? Somebody? Whatever it is. Would you advise a yes or no? Why? Just tell me why. It's a good idea or not a good idea. What would you do right now? 20 days left to go. Go with Rogan. What do you think? What do you think should be? Tell her to look the other way. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? If she goes, okay, here we go. Maria says, if she goes, she must prepare, read a lot, rehearse, and know all the agenda she's going to do. It's not going to happen. She can't do it. Desperate times demand it. She can't go. She cannot go. She cannot go. You cannot go. You cannot go. You cannot go. Kamala, don't even think about it. Don't try. Don't worry. Just let it go. Let it go. You understand what I'm saying? You can't do it. You can't. It's just simply that simple. You can't do it. There's no way she can. It would be, because right now, every moment is even more critical than ever. This was what she said a while back. Have you heard her space talk? Her space talk is even more fantastic. This is what she said. I forget the year, but this is when she was technically appointed to space exploration or whatever the division was.
I'm clear. With the exploration of space,
there's this whole I talked
defined in the 20th century.
Just look at where the stars are in the sky.
We must think about
don't look at them as just random things. If you just look at them as points, look at the constellation. What does it show you? So you just outlined it. What does it show you?
The opportunity.
There's this whole I talked with if you just look at where the stars are in the sky, don't look at them as just random things. If you just look at them as points.
There is this. Did this make any sense to you? What you just heard? Did that make any sense to you just now? Any of it? Did it remotely sound familiar? Did it sound like anything that? Did it sound? Is this something that you would want to risk? Would you ever allow her to go on Joe Rogan? Would you ever allow this? I know you heard that 2 streams of sound. Let me try it again. That was a bit odd, wasn't it? Raul says, no, if Kamala did, she would bury herself. Yes. Let me try this again, by the way. This is what I meant to say. That was a bit odd. Hearing her in stereo, 2 different ideas was enough. This is what she did. I forget the year.
As the chair, I am clear. With the
there's this whole I talked with somebody
once
who said, if you just look at
doing it again.
We know
stars are in the sky.
Where in the hell is this coming from?
It's just random things. If you just look at them as points,
where we must go.
Look at the constellation.
Oh my God. Hang on a minute.
So you just outlined it, Roland.
Where in the hell is this coming from?
There's this whole I talked.
Who is she talking about? She's talking to Roland.
Look
Hang
at
on.
where the stars
Lord.
are in the sky.
Oh, God.
Don't look at them as just random things. If you just look at them as points, look at the constellation.
Hang
what
on
does it show you?
Where is this?
So you just outlined it, Roland. What does it show
Who
you?
is Roland? Roland Martin.
There's this whole.
Can you hear this? By the way, are you hearing this as we speak? This is the most bizarre thing. Let me see this. Keep talking here, dear friends. Let me see. Let me get rid of this one. I'm getting
there's this whole. I talked with somebody.
I'm getting the loop.
If you just look at where the stars are in the sky.
Yeah, you look at where the stars are.
Don't look at them as just random things. If you just look at them as points, look at the constellation. What does it show you?
Here. Hang on, man.
So you just outlined it, Roland. What does it show you?
Hang on, we're going to get rid of this, Roland.
There's this.
She's on a loop.
I talked with somebody once who said,
Lord have mercy, she's on a loop.
The stars are in the sky.
Hang on a minute.
Don't look at them as just.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. That's it. Ta-da! Sorry about that. I had 2 different. So many. See, this is a story of life. I've got so many windows open. So many. It's wild. This is why yesterday I think I had what amounted to almost a collapse. Almost a collapse. Yesterday was just like I just couldn't take it. There we go. This is what she was saying. Here she was. I'm sorry to say this, and please, forgive. You're going to go crazy with this one because I love whenever there's any kind of problem with that. You understand? I can't hear you. Okay, take it easy. That's why you're so beautiful. This is the interview she was with Roland Martin. Bless his heart. I think his name is Martin.
There's this whole. I talked with somebody once who said, if you just look at where the.
This is Roland Martin. This was a guy who was CNN. Remember, then he wore these wild caftans and he wore this weird, all of these, I don't know what they were. He was wearing African dashikis or I don't know. He just was trying to find his way. He did a very good job. But this is her idea of Joe Rogan. And this is when she is trying to wax philosophic and watch his face as he stares in utter horror.
The stars are in the sky. Don't look at them as just random things if you just look at them as points.
Don't look at him as right. Look at him. He's wondering, what the hell is she talking about? What is she talking about?
Look at the constellation. What does it show you?
Don't look at the random points. She says, first of all, don't look at them. She says, look at the point. Did you hear what she said? She says, don't look at.
Don't look at them as just random things if you just look at them as points.
Now look at them as points individually. Then look at them as a constellation. Well, what is it?
Look at the constellation. What does it show you?
Yeah.
So you just outlined it, Roland. What does it show you?
Find quite well in the 20th
I have
century.
no idea of what she's talking
about. A space must guide
our Isn't this thing? Hang on. I gotta shut this thing down. I gotta shut this thing down. This is something which I find, ladies and gentlemen, to be one of those examples of, are you gaslighting me? Are you doing this on purpose? Could they be this stupid? Christian says the devil's lettuce will come out and she'll be, the devil's lettuce will come out and she'll be just fine. She can't do any worse with her supporters. The devil's lettuce. What does that mean? You mean like you would taunt something about? Very strange, but very good, very interesting. Jake Tapper also doesn't know what he's doing. I never hear of Jake Tapper until somebody shows me this on the YouTube thing here.
Good. Well, let me just first begin. It's anything but a purging program. It begins with someone identifying themselves as a non-citizen. And I guess I would posit back to you, do you think that non-citizens, when they've self-identified as a non-citizen, should stay on the voter roll and therefore be in a position to potentially vote in a presidential election?
I don't think any non-citizen should vote. How are they self-identifying?
Wait a minute. Do you hear that? I don't think any non-citizen should vote.
How does that happen?
They actually tick a box that says I am a non-citizen, or they do not answer the question that they are a citizen, and therefore they self-identify that they are not a citizen in the United States of America. And this is why this is so out of bounds in my mind from the Justice Department. They fully understand this. They understand the process starts with a person self-identifying as a non-citizen, and then there is a match with that person's name on the voter rolls, and they are given not just one, but up to 3 times in order to try to cure it. And this is why I find this to be a very, very unreal moment that is stunning, that they filed this suit 25 days before a presidential election, when in fact this has been going on in accordance with our Constitution, the federal Constitution, and state law since 2006.
Now this is again, by the way, Christian's going to clear this up. They smoke a lot of weeds on this show. Those weeds that they smoke is indeed a bit of a problem. See, I feel like I don't want to use the word, and I hate the word gaslighting. I really hate it. It just does something to me. But I feel as though, come on, it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Now, switching over. The story that I must convey to you is something that you will understand in your own language, in your own propensity for such, because you appreciate this. I know how you think. I know what you think. But there is something that we are seeing in this world, and I will use it. I will use the term just for purposes of shorthand. Evil. And we are seeing something that is so easy. The devil's lettuce is an old term for weed from the 20s. Interesting. I did not know this. The devil's lettuce. Okay. Very interesting. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of this. And this is what's so interesting. And this would be a very difficult thing for a lot of people to do with their shows, because it doesn't lend itself. It involves stopping and thinking and I hate the word unpacking, but plumbing the depths and pulling back the issues of what's going on right now. You love the word Satan. I don't believe in the notion of a thing called Satan, but I will use it as a shorthand version for something that you understand. Satanic evil meets sinful depravity, signaling to a depraved electorate what's in store. As we are speaking right now, there are swaths of humanity called Tren de Aragua. And Tren de Aragua from Venezuela are so evil, young. Let me explain something to you. And I want you to listen to me. And I want you to understand one of the biggest problems that we have here. We have people in this country who will never, ever address the idea of very serious, legitimate realities towards different factions of people. There are people, and if you watch this, and I know you're going to laugh at this, perhaps, maybe you will, but if you want to see, look at YouTube and look at a lot of the people that you see being arrested. And I would say this, boom, stop. This is the tweaked out, rednecked, cranked out, white meth head filled with tats, teeth missing, gibberish spewing, and it happens to be white, but I've seen this. This is the, just you've seen this type, boom. And if I say white, people say, oh, okay, that's okay. That's what I mean. It's a white, normally a white female. I've seen this before, covered in tats. Tats are this wonderful, tats put you into a different category. Tats are a message. Look at Justin Bieber, hiding. When people completely cover themselves in tats, it means something. We'll get to that later. You know how I feel about that. It's one of those open air indicators that people just don't want to accept. Christian says, Kamala strikes me as a smoker. She thought Baggy and the White House belonged to her hunter. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't think she's into doing coke, but I mean, for her to leave it in a particular area where it's not. No, I don't know how so many people smoke dope today. It's hard to say. Smoking dope used to mean something. Smoking dope in the 70s and 80s or whatever, it kind of meant something. It was kind of not anymore. It's and by the way, you're not really smoking dope. I don't know what you're smoking, but that's not it. It's just not it. It's almost like farm raised wine or synthetic wine, or it's like that's not wine. It comes from grapes from France and the Bordeaux and the seasons and the rain. No, I just made these things in a hydroponics. Well, no, that's not okay. Whatever it is, stop. Let me go back to what's going on. There are these other people. If you notice, there's a group of folks who are, and you will see this. This is I used to call it this is a black stratum, uneducated, violent. Again, the black version of this white version, speaking a patois, speaking an unintelligible English I find fascinating. As a linguist, as a logophile, as somebody who is a logodentalist, somebody who appreciates the sonority of sound, there is and people call it sometimes Southern because there's many strata to the Blinglish, which is black English, kind of a portmanteau, black and Blinglish, and there are very, very, very strains. But there's one particular sound, I know it. It is if you were in New Orleans or Nolans, you call it like Cajun. They have these wonderful phrases for anyway. Okay. There's another group of people called the South American, Middle American, Central American, Mexican, absolute jungle poor, beyond ravaged by poverty, no idea whatsoever of societal belonging, off the charts evil. Now, remember, when I say this, people are going to say, oh, are you saying all people? No. Are all white people with tattoos? No. Are all black people with tattoos? No. Are all people from Venezuela? No. You obviously know that, but people love to always over here. They're a group of people, and this Tren de Aragua, are savages, cold, partitioned and grouped together from the ages of 8, 9, 10 years old. They work in wolf packs. You're in New York, they'll surround you. 5, 10, you don't know what's going on. And their savagery, savage, unkempt, unkept, uncivilized, monster, animal, treacherous, vile, subliterate, so poor, from families and groups of people you have never met. The lowest form of vermin in our country, the lowest, is like the Windsors or the Astors compared to this. These people know poverty and destitution, and at least an American has access to a cell phone or music or TV or cable or internet or something. Maybe there's public school. Maybe they can read and write. Maybe they can write their name. Maybe they know some rudimentary. This group of people, a different story. There's no public schools where these people are from. There's no people are born. There's no birth certificates. That's why trafficking is so easy. These people, this is the worst. This is when you introduce, you know that every now and then somebody will say, there's a fish that gets out and populates. I forget one time there was this flying carp or something. It came into a net, seine, and there was a hole in the seine, and one of these things got out, and it did great in the Mississippi, and they populated it, or a particular type of plant that clogs vessels, and or of ivy or something. That's the way it is. Human beings, we are animals. We are animals, all of us. And some of us move over here, and some of us move over here, and some of us genetically, we're probably all pretty much the same to start off with. I would venture to say, no matter who you are, if you take anybody, take an offshoot of the Windsors or the Vanderbilts or somebody from Tren de Aragua, take the next newborn, white, black, brown, Filipino, I don't care, move them any place else, have them raised in that environment, ta-da, they will sound like the rest. They won't look like the rest, but it's culture. It's class. We have people in this country who do not have class. Or excuse me, they don't have class, but there's a different class stratum they are in. And nobody wants to talk about it, or talk this. When you see somebody and you say, this person will never amount to anything, this person will always be on the dole, on some form of assistance program, or a criminal, or die in rehab, or die on the streets, or whatever it is. You know this, irrespective of given race, society, and culture, and the class stratum. That's where it's at. And if you don't want to do this, if you don't want to figure this out, if you don't want to sit here and you want to do these polls without saying, but what's going on here? Well, the black vote, do black people vote? Yeah. Well, why don't they vote in this country? Well, why is there a greater proportion of Hispanics and Latinos? People have been talking about, it's not MAGA. The group of people in this country, let me tell you something right now, are Latinos, and they cover, those are people who speak Spanish as a native. And I don't mean people from Spain. Nobody will ever talk about this. Nobody will ever. They just don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about this. I am a behaviorist. I am a literalist. I'm a realist. I understand what's going on. I see it. I know it. And I appreciate gray. I want you to understand, not black and white, gray. Make America gray again. Understand the gray areas of this. This is what's important. We evil. There are people in the world, and because you are letting them get away with murder, they continue to murder. And what you're going to need is a very serious form of chemotherapy, of radiation, of surgery to ablate, excise, emend, abrogate, bowdlerize, amputate, remove these people from society. I'll let you figure what you want to do with them. Is up to you. Remove them from society and start top to bottom. We have to make being a criminal in this country the worst thing in the world you want to do. You want people who come to this country and they say, listen, let me tell you something. Whatever you do, don't get caught. Remember in Singapore, when who was the one guy who was defacing something or whatever, and they were going to cane him? And they said, you don't understand the way we do. We're Singapore. Screw you. We do this thing differently. No, you don't want to come to Singapore? If you think we're too draconian by caning somebody who whatever it is, leaves gum or whatever the hell, don't come to our country. Stay out of here. Stay out of our country. We are serious. Don't F with us. That's what we need. And brutal. And you have to televise it. And you have to take people and you put them on flatbed trucks. You put them on prison vans. They have the chicken wire and they're sent to the airport. There's armed guards like Aircon or whatever it's called. You put them on planes, you put them on buses, and you get them out of here. And you have some biometric, everybody biometrically scanned, irises, fingerprints, whatever it is. If ever they come back, use the data, use all of the stuff that surveils us, use it against these people. You want to do it the right way? Good. Milton Friedman said something the other day. Milton Friedman, not the other day, he's been dead for I don't know how long, but he said in 1914, remember the last time we had it when they opened it up? Remember the scene from The Godfather, Ellis Island, the Statue of Liberty. Have you seen that? What did they do? What was the difference? That was a great period of time, right? Was there anything wrong with that? No. What's the difference between then and now? What's the difference between then and now? Answer my question. What's the difference between then and now? What do you think? It's the best question in the world. Let me answer. Milton Friedman brought up a good point. In 1914 or whatever it was, people came in. They just came in, but they came to work. There was no welfare. It was brutal. Lower East Side, downtown, 5 Points. Oh, dear God. Oh, tenement housing, horrible. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what I'm looking forward to, but they didn't come here. They weren't given a cash card and money and insurance and a pay. No, they came to work and they either were push cart sellers or they did whatever it is. They came, which is kind of the way the great people in this city are. They used to be called Mexicans. I don't know. Now it's South Americans. Everywhere you go to any restaurant. Mrs. L and I found a great new favorite little Indian place we go to in the hood. And as we're standing there, right around the time of, when it's time for shift changes, here comes the crew. There's Pedro and Juancito, with their little backpacks, coming in, doing their work. They're the people who are the dishwashers. They are the most loyal. They work their ass off. They come in, they work. They don't sit around on their ass, passed out, doing crank or meth or trank or whatever the hell it is. Doesn't matter. Those are white people. When we had 1 week, we had this spate of heroin users or whatever the hell they were. They're all white, young, all of them, not black, white, young people. Now, the first rule we got to understand, if you're interested in this, you join me in this, do me a favor. Be very understanding of something. 99% of the people who are watching, who are talking stuff about politics are so full of it. It's not even funny. I wish I could have told you, listen to this show about the numbers. Well, in North Carolina, the numbers were great. You know, in 2016, Hillary was up by 3, and then Rasmussen and Seneca said, what are you talking about? You're creating the idea. You are trying to replace real analysis by somehow captivating me by a number. If it changes tomorrow, I lose interest in the story. You're trying to show me, look how much I know about numbers. It's numbers, polls, real clear politics. Oh, stop it. You're missing the point. It's like going to a movie and you're sitting there and you're saying, well, you know what? This theater should be a lot more full at noon on a Saturday. Let me go back and check the box office number. How's the box office numbers here? What's your slow week? Would you watch the movie? Now I want to get the metrics. How are you doing on concession sales? Are you selling? You know, this is not good. Concession sales are down. Popcorn should be up by 20%. It's down by 20%. This is not good. Like, would you watch the movie? What are you talking about concession sales for? You're missing the point. You're missing the process here. Yeah, but I'm a wonk. No, you're not. What are you talking about? It's sometimes our precision misses the point. There was a friend of mine years ago who was on TV, and there was a device they had on the camera, and it showed of these levels, white balance, and this was like in the 80s, early 90s, whatever, and he was watching this, and the fellow I know who was the anchor said, I look terrible, I'm blanched. What did you do? He goes, oh, we got a new camera. But you see these numbers on the bottom? He says, I don't care about the numbers. I look like hell. Yeah, but these numbers, he goes, forget the numbers. Look at me. Look. Now, I think it's important to talk about, is Kamala going to go on Joe Rogan? Okay. That's kind of interesting for a while, maybe. I just think people like to talk about stuff. It interests me for 30 seconds. And then we move on. I like the bigger questions. And the bigger question is, why doesn't anybody really want to talk about what really matters? This is what I'll never forget. I am, to use the Mearsheimer term, a realist. I care about realism. Realism. I had a friend of mine one time who owned a bar in what used to be, well, what we called it in the old days, not the projects, but it was in housing. Primarily, 100% of his clientele was black. Greatest. He owned a series of these bars. Absolute moneymakers. So one day, I noticed they have half pints. They sold half pints. No, make a drink and have a shot. No, it's a half pint. All of them rose. So why don't you have a bottle, like a fifth or something? And he said, no way. Think about it. So I thought about it. I said, I don't understand it. Why? He said, very simple. If you have a bottle, then all their friends are going to come by and say, give me a drink, buy me a drink, whatever. But if you have a half pint, I got to keep it. Sorry, I don't have enough. He said, that's reality. Okay, very good. He talked about behaviors about when to open. He would tell me stuff. He said, there's one day you'd never close, ever. He said he knew what, now listen to me. I know this sounds brutal, but it's true. It's what he told me. He said he knew when all of assistant, you used to call it welfare, he called it assistance, all the assistant checks, when they went out. He knew he had to be there. He would cash checks. He would do this. He had people, listen to this. He had people working for him he never paid. They were working off their drinks for the rest of their lives. He never paid anybody. All right. It was a brutal reality. It sounded terrible. He talked about people like Jane Goodall, about behaviors and this and that. And what about this? That's reality. I talked to a woman one time, a friend of mine who owns, then she owned my favorite Korean restaurant. I said, do you ever close? She looked at me, she says, close? Why would you close? I said, well, I don't know. Clean. Goes, well, clean. He said, we don't have keys at the door. There's no keys. There's no keys. There's no front door key. This door is never locked. And she said, we're Korean. She looked at me like, don't you understand what's going on here? I said, oh, okay. I said, well, who are the best workers? She said, Mexican. So what about Japanese? Too lazy. This is what she said. I said, Japanese are lazy. What are you talking? She's saying this stuff to me. Now, in our world of, oh, no, we can't think about this. They don't care about reality. We live in a world. I heard this one. Listen to this. I talked to a friend of mine. Haven't talked to him in, I don't know how long. 20 years? Maybe? I don't know. He worked for every major comedy show group thing you can imagine. You name his show, he was on it, either as a writer, assistant. He said, do you know who now runs the comedy shows? This is his words. A guy I thought was always kind of progressive, and I haven't seen him a lot. I don't know if I want to talk to him. He's going to be probably one of these lefties. He says, you know who runs the show now? He said, you know those cat ladies at J.D. Vance? Somebody goes, those. They run it. No sense of humor. None. He said, remember that woman who was on, she ran, was it Bud Light? Remember the one who had the one who put in Dylan Mulvaney? That's the one. Some of them are unmarried, single, cat ladies who have a sensibility through not DEI, but some kind of, I don't know what. They've been elevated to this status of in charge of funny, and that's not funny. That's not funny. And if you are, his words, not mine, if you are some white dude who may be in his 40s and you worked for everybody from Saturday Night Live to Kimmel to The Daily Show, doesn't matter. They will hire somebody who walks around, some woman who plays with her hair. You ever see women who do this, who play with their hair? There is something so, it's not called, there's hair pulling, but this is the ones who sit and they just curl their hair and they're just, I don't know who these people are, but there's something wrong with them. They're unhappy. Those are in charge of the comedy shows. This is his words, not me. He says, you're dead. DEI, not even that. It's on steroids. And the best part about it is that humor has nothing to do with it. It's this thing that's coming over. Years ago, I worked for a guy. There was a guy years ago, one of the most brilliant. He would be drummed out of the court. And he had some problems, but he had in his contract, when you worked, it was for a radio, it was for like talk radio. He said, if you are offended by racial jokes, sex jokes, potty humor, potty mouth, cursing, whatever it is, do not work here. What makes us who we are is our energy, our ribaldry, our over-the-top daring. A lot of people who are obnoxious and crude and up to a point. But you are not going to destroy the creative aspect of our place by you coming along and killing our humor with your sensibilities about, I don't want to talk about indigenous people, and I'm not some incel. If you use too many words, you're gone, you're through, you're finished. You're not going to destroy. You're not going to destroy our world. That's what happened. It's everywhere. Okay, you got what I'm saying? Okay. Somebody came along, Dylan Mulvaney. Somebody said they let this person in church, this woman that, remember, she always looked like she just got out of the shower. She was doing this Zoom, and we got this male, this Harvard educated, and we got rid of this old boy. This is beer you're selling. And she put that thing, Dylan Mulvaney, who's nowhere to be found. And they let this woman do it. Okay, cut to today. Somebody is letting Kamala run the show. I don't understand it. During the Bud Light era, people were saying, who is letting these women do this? We said, I don't know. You must know. You let this idiot run a $1 billion plus business. What are you doing? I don't know. Well, why is she there? I don't know. People were bulldozing Bud Light. Who did this? The people who are loving this are the competition of Bud Light because they're enjoying themselves. Same thing with Kamala. Who picked her? Barack Obama, the word is he hates her because they double-crossed her. He told them, do not pick her. She's unlikable. Remember when you were giving me this nonsense about, well, Obama's calling the shots. I said, he's not calling anything. Nothing. They're not listening to him. He's pissed off. So he's over here. Why? I don't know. Biden, say what you want, was at least he had 50 years of goodwill. People kind of liked him before he went nuts. Before they caught him, and then he had to turn because they were going to blackmail him with his son and the laptop. You still don't know what's on those laptops. You still don't know. Not even remember when who was it? Divine and Miranda Devine and the laptop from hell. Nothing happened. They said, we'll take care of this, but we own you. Okay. Who are these people? I don't know. The Democratic Party. Who put people like this involved? I don't know. Who actually said we're going to put women competing in men and women's? What are you doing? Who picked Rachel Levine? Hello, hi, how are you? I'm in. Who is this? And people kept saying, I don't know. You picked her. Why is she the front and center of this new trans whatever world? Nobody likes this. I don't know. BLM. Where did this come from? America's not into BLM. These people are tearing. We don't know. We don't know. That's the issue. Gavin Newsom hasn't done one thing for Kamala. Not one. Because he's going to do it in 2028. Pelosi can't stand her. Whitmer can't stand her. Nobody. Josh Shapiro, so pissed off. They said, well, they didn't pick him because he's Jewish. Pick him. You turn around. Your policies basically are written by Netanyahu. What do you have to fear from Josh Shapiro? Change his name to Moishe or something. Emphasize the fact he's Jewish. What are you running from? You're not even consistent with your policy. What is it? Great. You picked Tim Walz. Why? Nobody knows. Are you gaslighting me? Is it because you know you're going to win and you don't care? Is that it? I don't know. None of it makes any sense. And if I hear one more person, well, the Senegal, the Rahway poll or the Quinnipiac poll shows Biden is a dead heat. Stop this. Stop this. There's no dead heat. What are you? unless there are people who just are going to vote for whatever it is. I mean, we are in this thing right now, and I've got to tell you, the real issues aside from this, because Trump's going to win, we have got to get almost fascistic or totalitarian or law enforcement brutal. You see, most of us, believe it or not, most of us, and not because we're white, most of us never have any encounters with any police ever. Just don't. Not even speeding ticket. How many of you have never received a speeding ticket? You know how many black people never got a speeding ticket? Never. Never were arrested. Never ran into anybody. Never. 99% of the people never have any contact with the police ever. It's just a small little percentage that we know by name. And under my administration, I can pick them up, put them onto flatbed trucks, trains, buses, and pack them away in new prisons, in new government lands, in the middle of Montana, middle of nowhere, in deserts. Don't have air conditioning, but warehouse these people forever. Give them a chance. We'll give you a chance. That's it. You want these Tren de Aragua people to say, listen to me, whatever you do, don't go to this place. We will F you up if you do this. You have no idea. Now, listen to what I'm telling you. You are not going to believe what is happening. I did this on Lionel Legal. What is happening right now regarding Bieber, Diddy, the mother, she basically sold, this is slavery. She, in effect, sold her son. Now, she's going to say, well, no, it was a business deal. It was a recording contract. No. We are selling and trafficking in human beings. Do you know the number of people in this country who traffic in their own children? You wouldn't believe it. Nobody wants to hear about this because it's like, oh, that's just icky. Read about this. The real story about what's going on with Bieber. Read this. It will blow your mind. Blow your mind. Let me also tell you something. You are going to find one day that everything you ever heard and was rumored about sacrificial snuff films and the like, and sacrifice happens more than you will ever know. Ever. If I'm in possession of something and it's an actual filming of somebody being dispatched, you can always say, who was that? I don't know. Somebody came from some country, brought over some unaccompanied minor. Who knows? Doesn't even have a name. Nobody's reporting them missing. Is that a snuff film? No, it's just trick photography, and you know how it is. Editing. You think that's far-fetched? Since the beginning of time, man's been doing that. Do you think that's far-fetched? And as these sick people get more and more, remember when Sammy Davis Jr. with Anton LaVey and Satanism? Remember that? The occult and everything else? Do you think this is? Now you might say, well, this is Satan. Well, no, this is black magic or whatever you want to call it. It's like you can't believe. And these people, remember all of the signs? I'm not that familiar with them, but everybody in Hollywood, they would all make this one sign. There was one. They love symbology. They love semiotics. They love this. We live in a world right now. Forget these polls. It is so evil. I guarantee to you, I will give you the rapt attention of any audience who listens. And the vice president is, if you think our biggest problem in this country is the price of insulin, if you think that EV cars and climate change, if you think that is a source of concern, you are out of your mind. CR says also organ harvesting. Oh, absolutely. Remember years ago, I heard a story a while back, and I don't know how true this is, of somebody who knew somebody who was very healthy, or excuse me, very wealthy, rather, pardon me, and was not doing very good because he was looking for a liver transplant. He was on the transplant list. There was no transplant list. He was waiting for the list. And then saw him again. I don't know what period of time. The guy said, "Oh my God, you look great." He goes, "Yeah. You have your transplant?" "Sure did." "In this country?" "No." He said, according to the story, China. It was worked out. And it works like this. Depending upon if you know who's who, you have all the blood work, they have prisons. And the story is that they can say, "Okay, number 2242, today's your lucky day. Come on, let's go. Is this you?" "Yeah, blood time." "Yeah, okay." All of a sudden, they have these vans, not vans, but these like mobile people. You've seen them. You can look online. And people are dispatched. And when they will meet this person at either at the airport, and they will have a cooler, one of those coolers on ice. "Here you go. Have a nice day." And you fly either to an adjacent, maybe there, whatever it is, but it's done. Oh my God. Do you know what people would pay for a lift, heart, liver, waiting list? No. Mm-mm. And let me tell you something. I say this with great trepidation because a dear friend of mine is alive today because a young man, or his parents, guy was hit in a motorcycle accident, and his parents gave or okayed his heart. And this friend of mine today is approaching 80 years old. He's had this forever, and he would not be here were for it. So I think transplantation is something that I will never want to do anything to dissuade people from being an organ donor. That being said, the potential, I've heard of other people who the first person they hear about, whenever there was a tragedy, it wasn't the hospital calling to say, "Do you have so-and-so? We're sorry to let you know, but your so-and-so passed away, or please come in the hospital for the viewing." No, it was somebody from the organ procurement team saying, "Yeah, is this Mr. Lavinia's father?" "Yeah. Listen, organ procurement. Oh, they didn't tell you?" It's like, it's very, very macabre, very, very Dracula-like. It's like, and the potential. Remember, I'm not poo-pooing organ transplant. Please. Organ donation saves lives, especially on your driver's license. But if somebody says, "We got a young guy here, we can maybe resuscitate him, but that liver, young guy, hasn't ruined it with alcohol and bad living, and that could fetch." I'm just saying, you don't think that's possible? When you do what I do, you always have to go to the dark side and think, what would the criminal think? What would the bad guy think? What would one of those people think? What does a Democrat think? What does Kamala think? What does Trump think? Not the numbers, but look at the actual human behavior part of it. That's the most fascinating thing. And we've got stuff right now, and God bless President Trump. And I think if anybody can do it, he can sure do it. But we have people in this country who are so evil. There is so much bad here that for them to extricate it, to undo it, it is, you got to ask yourself, do you have the guts, the stomach to see people picked up? We have no record of you. We don't know who you are. You've been in trouble. You're leaving, including your family, but they go to school. Sorry, go. Can you do that? Can you do that? But they'll say, but you don't understand. The children, some were born here or some were this. What are you going to do? These are called anchor babies. You've jackpot babies. You've heard this. They come. There was one place I heard about where Chinese have tourism, and Chinese parents would have come to have their kids born here. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are we going to sit there and say, well, okay, you could, oh, the baby was born here? Okay, all right, you 7 people, you can stay. Well, we don't want to break that family up. What would they do in another country? What would they do to an American if you were there and say, hey, France, hold it. This is, my son was born here in the Choton hospital, and we're not going. Why? Because it's unfair. What? Get out of here. You don't understand. It's not fair. What do you think they would say in any other country? We have been so hosed for so long. They have just played this game. They have absolutely reduced us to fools. They laugh at us. And they come to our country, these punks from Tren de Aragua, circling people and tourists and citizens in wolf packs. I could pick them up like this. First of all, where are they? They're over there. How do you know? Number one, they don't speak English. Number two, they're all over there. I know where they are. MS-13. They got tattoos and they have MS-13 on their forehead. Gee, you don't hear about them anymore. Are they gone? Remember, the government never wants to, especially if they're involved in trafficking, drugs, or otherwise, you never want to destroy the unit completely. You want to be able to make sure that the networks stay in place. But you might want to get rid of some people. As an old wise guy one time said, they want to put their blood in our veins. They want to put their system in our networks. They want to keep our networks. Why do you think they haven't stopped the mob? Motorcycle gangs or the triads of Russia. You know how easy it is to find, especially in this country, foreign mobs? They stand out like a sore thumb. Oh, there they are. Remember the Russian mobs in the old days in Brighton Beach? They wore the leather. They all wore the black leather thing. They were playing chess. I mean, everybody knew who they were. They didn't want to get rid of them. No. So we can play these games all day long. We can talk about things like space and look at the stars. And we can talk about EVs and the cost of insulin. This country is turning into a shithole. Pardon my French. And we have people here, vermin who need to be addressed immediately. And I'm tired of people laughing at those folks in Springfield, Ohio, who were screaming. Somebody was saying that the number of that the car accident in Springfield. And they go, this is racist. The word racist doesn't work anymore. I don't hear it anymore. I don't hear it. You've used it so much. You've habituated it so much to me that it doesn't make any sense. I can't hear racist. All right. You understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you? Okay. So number one, let me thank the good folks who were here. God bless you. CR, thank you so much. Christian Janos, who is, of course, an expert in 20s referencing to marijuana as lettuce. Evan Webb, thank you. Raul and Kevin. Now, my friends, don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors, which should go right now and sign up immediately. You got to see what she's doing. You're not going to believe this stuff. She talked, the interviews, the people she talks to, people who have been trafficked, people who have been abused, people who have been the victim of it. You cannot believe what they've been through. Lynn's Warriors. Number two, Lionel Legal. I just went through my video on Bieber. It's disgusting. Him with Diddy saying, I got you for 48 hours. What is going on here? No child protective services. Where's CPS? Where are all these people who take your kids away from you in case you decide that you're not, or they decide you're not acting fast enough when little Megan says, I think I'm going to be a boy today. Oh, shut up. This is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I am saying? I hope so. I hope you really understand this is bad. And there's only one guy to do it. It's Trump. And you've got to understand. And let me explain something to you. When you get rid of Kamala, they're not going to, that lunacy isn't going away. You're not going to get rid of these trans folks and people who want to destroy women's sports and you want to destroy the atmosphere of lucidity. No. There are people who still want to destroy our borders, destroy our infrastructure, destroy our culture, our heritage, our nationality, our customs, black, white, Italian. Oh, they're still there. They're not going anywhere. She's just a placeholder. She's a cutout. Watch what's happening. We're 20 days today. But the good news is we're going to win this thing. But do yourself a favor. Don't ever forget. Don't ever let the good news of this get in the way. We've got our work cut out for us. And it is so bad. It'll be decades to get rid of these folks, to set the course, to fund. Have you seen, I don't know about you, but in your town, you ever see maybe you have, these police officers? You see a bunch of fat police officers standing on the corner looking at their phones? There was one the other day, this woman, she had fingernails out to here. She had the Cardi B. She's on her phone. I'm thinking, this one? This is a cop? No. All I know is that during the Israeli protests, and they brought in the siege trucks, I saw cops that I've never seen before. It was like they're from they're from an army. Men and women. I didn't see these butterballs walking around, these Melissa McCarthy wannabes, like that FBI agent, or the Secret Service Barbie. I didn't see that. They're there. We have to change the way we think about law and order. Because remember, most of you never even had a ticket. Do you care how tough the police are? Do you care about how? No. Do you really care? No. You never come into contact with the police. Never. And if you do, it's like, all right, maybe, but not for armed robbery. Not for gang-related activities. No. What do you care? Why are people so worried about whether we're going to overreact to gang-related homicides? That is over. Over. Because of Trump. Because of Trump. Don't ever forget that. And there is a new kind of sadistic, depraved, evil, criminal that is just getting worse. And each one fuels the other. And in conclusion, when you get to the bottom of what really happened with Diddy, you're not going to believe it. All right, dear friends, don't forget preparewithlionel.com. Go there right now and see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Just look at it, and you will be amazed at what is there and what you need to do. Only you can do this. Nobody's going to make you do this. Government's not going to say, excuse me, yes. Are you stacked up? Are you adequately supplied in the event of disaster? It doesn't work like that. Okay? All right, dear friends. Have a great and a glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. We'll see you tonight at 7. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dead.